I had no reason to attend the charity gala that night. My business partner had practically dragged me there. You need to stop working for one night, Daniel told me as we walked through the entrance. Everyone important in this city is here. I don't care about everyone important. You will when they become your clients. I sighed. The ballroom was filled with expensive suits, designer dresses, crystal lights, and people who smiled at each other while secretly measuring each other's wealth. I was about to ask Daniel how long we had to stay when I heard an angry female voice. You don't get to talk to me like that, Alexander. I turned. A beautiful woman stood near the center of the ballroom. Sophia Sterling. I didn't know her personally, but almost everyone in the business world knew her name. She was the only daughter of Richard Sterling, the billionaire behind Sterling Industries. She looked furious. Standing across from her was a tall man with an arrogant smile. Alexander Kane, her ex-boyfriend. I'm only telling you the truth, Alexander said. You were never ready for a serious relationship. Sophia's eyes narrowed. Really? Then why did you spend 2 years telling me I was the only woman you wanted? Alexander laughed. People change. You changed after you found someone richer. His smile disappeared. Then he looked toward a blonde woman standing nearby. Actually, I was going to introduce you. The blonde stepped closer. This is Vanessa. Alexander placed his hand around her waist. My girlfriend. Sophia stared at them. For several seconds, she said nothing. Then she laughed bitterly. Congratulations. Alexander smirked. You sound jealous. I'm not jealous. You should be. He leaned closer. Vanessa understands me. She doesn't constantly question my decisions. She doesn't act like the world revolves around her. Sophia's face turned red. Daniel whispered beside me. This is getting interesting. I think we should leave. Before I could move, Sophia suddenly looked directly at me. Our eyes met. I had no idea why. Then she started walking toward me. Fast. I looked behind me. There was nobody standing there. She was coming straight toward me. Sophia. Alexander called. She ignored him. She stopped in front of me. I barely had time to react before her hand grabbed the collar of my jacket. What are you? She pulled me down. Then she kissed me. Right there. In front of everyone. My entire body froze. The ballroom went silent. I could hear someone gasp. Daniel almost dropped his glass. Alexander looked like someone had punched him. Sophia pulled away after a few seconds. She looked at Alexander. Then she smiled. It wasn't a nervous smile. It was a victorious one. That's what I thought. Alexander's jaw tightened. Who the hell is he? Sophia slipped her arm through mine. My boyfriend. I nearly choked. You're what? She squeezed my arm. Don't ruin this. Alexander stared at me. You're dating him? Sophia nodded. Yes. Alexander looked me up and down. You've got to be kidding. I'm not. Vanessa whispered something to Alexander, but he didn't seem to hear her. His eyes remained fixed on Sophia. So you moved on this quickly? Sophia smiled. Apparently I did. Then she pulled me away. I had no idea what was happening. The moment we reached a quiet hallway, I removed her hand from my arm. What was that? She looked at me. I'm sorry. You kissed a complete stranger. I know. In front of hundreds of people. I know. You called me your boyfriend. I know. I stared at her. She sighed. I was angry. That explains nothing. She looked down. Alexander was trying to make me jealous. So you kissed me to make him jealous? Yes. At least you're honest. She gave me an embarrassed smile. I didn't know what else to do. You could have ignored him. I tried. And he wouldn't stop. I shook my head. You need better solutions. She laughed quietly. You're right. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she reached into her purse. I want to make you an offer. I stared at the envelope she pulled out. What is that? Money. I frowned. I don't want your money. You don't even know how much. I don't care. She stepped closer. Please. Why? Because Alexander won't believe that kiss was real. I sighed. And what exactly are you asking me to do? Pretend to be my boyfriend. I stared at her. You're serious? Yes. For how long? She hesitated. 3 months. I laughed. You're offering me money to pretend to date you for 3 months? Yes. That is insane. I know. And what happens if I say no? She looked at me. I'll find someone else. Then find someone else. She looked disappointed. Please. I turned away. I should have walked out. I should have gone back to Daniel and forgotten the entire thing. But something about Sophia's expression stopped me. She wasn't acting like a spoiled billionaire heiress anymore. She looked scared. Not scared of Alexander. Scared of being alone. I turned back. Why me? She blinked. What? Why did you choose me? She stared at me for several seconds. Because you didn't look impressed by me. I frowned. What? Everyone here knows my family. They see the Sterling name before they see me. She lowered her voice. But you looked at me like I was just a woman who had made a stupid decision. I couldn't help smiling. Maybe you did. She laughed. Maybe I did. Then she extended her hand. So? I looked at it. I knew I should say no. Instead, I shook it. 3 months. Her face immediately brightened. Deal. She leaned closer. Thank you. I nodded. Just one rule. What? No more surprise kisses. She smiled innocently. I'll try. That's not reassuring. She laughed. Then she stepped closer again. I immediately moved backward. Sophia. She smiled. Relax. I don't trust that smile. She looked directly into my eyes. I need you to kiss me again tomorrow. I froze. What? She smiled. Alexander will be watching. And suddenly, I realized that agreeing to 3 months with Sophia Sterling might be the biggest mistake of my life. I should have walked away from Sophia that night. Instead, I followed her into a private lounge overlooking the ballroom. She closed the door behind us and placed the envelope of money on the table. This is the first payment, she said. I didn't touch it. How much are you offering? She told me. I stared at her. That much? She nodded. For 3 months. I leaned back. You really want me to pretend to be your boyfriend that badly? Yes. Why? Because Alexander needs to believe I moved on. I laughed quietly. You're paying me enough money to buy a small company just to make your ex jealous. Sophia looked embarrassed. When you say it like that, it sounds ridiculous. Because it is ridiculous. She crossed her arms. Are you going to accept or not? I looked down. That was when I thought about my own company. For the past 6 months, everything had gone wrong. We had lost 2 major clients. Our biggest investor had backed out. Payroll was becoming difficult, and I had already delayed my own salary twice. I had spent years building the company. I couldn't let it die. Sophia watched my expression carefully. You need the money. I looked at her. How do you know? I asked about your company. You investigated me? I wanted to know who I was hiring. Hiring? She smiled. That's basically what this is. I hated that she was right. How much will you invest? Enough to stabilize your company immediately. And what do you want in return? For 3 months, you are my boyfriend. I took a long breath. Fine. Her eyes widened. Really? Yes. She smiled. Then we have a deal. Not yet. Her smile faded. I want rules. She nodded. Of course. I took a sheet of paper from the table. Rule number 1. This relationship is completely fake. Agreed. Rule number 2. Neither of us develops feelings. Sophia hesitated for half a second. Then she nodded. Agreed. Rule number 3. No personal questions about our past. Fine. Rule number 4. Every kiss is only for appearances. She looked at me. Obviously. Rule number 5. When the 3 months are over, we walk away. She nodded. Deal. I extended my hand. She shook it. Then she smiled. You're surprisingly serious about this. Because I don't want complications. Neither do I. Neither of us knew how wrong we were. Our first public date happened 2 days later. And it became a disaster. Or, depending on Sophia's perspective, a success. The moment we stepped outside the restaurant, cameras exploded around us. Miss Sterling, is that your new boyfriend? Are you dating him? How long have you been together? Sophia smiled confidently. I tried to keep my face calm. Then she grabbed my arm. Smile. I am smiling. You look terrified. I am terrified. She laughed. The photographers immediately started taking pictures. Sophia leaned against me. Closer. What? Closer. She pulled my arm around her waist. My heart jumped. "Remember the rules," she whispered. "I'm trying. Then act like you love me." I looked at her. "That wasn't in the contract. It is now." She smiled at the cameras. I forced myself to smile. The photographs appeared online before we even reached the car. By the next morning, everyone knew. Sophia Sterling had a new boyfriend. And apparently everyone wanted to know who I was. At the next event, Alexander was there. The moment Sophia saw him, she grabbed my hand. "He's watching." I noticed. "Stay close." She stepped against me. I looked down. "You're enjoying this." "Maybe." Alexander walked toward us. Sophia smiled. "Alexander." He looked at me, then at her. "So this is your new boyfriend?" Sophia nodded. "Yes." Alexander laughed. "I give you a week." Sophia's expression hardened. "That's unfortunate." "Why?" "Because we're planning to be together much longer than that." She turned toward me. Then, without warning, she kissed me. Again. The room disappeared for a moment. I knew it was supposed to be acting, but something had changed. The kiss didn't feel like the first one. It felt slower, warmer, more natural. When Sophia pulled away, her cheeks were bright red. She immediately looked away. I stared at her. "Are you okay?" "Yes." "You're blushing." "I am not." "You are." She touched her cheek. "It's hot in here." I looked around the air-conditioned room. "Right." She glared at me. "Don't say anything." I smiled. "I'm not saying anything. You're thinking it." "Maybe." She turned away. Alexander had seen everything. His expression was darker than before. Over the next few days, Sophia continued acting like the perfect girlfriend. She held my arm everywhere. She leaned against my shoulder during interviews. She fixed my tie before photographs. And whenever Alexander appeared, she became even more affectionate. But something strange was happening. The more we pretended, the harder it became to pretend. During one dinner, Sophia reached across the table and touched my hand. Neither of us moved. She stared at our hands. Then she quickly pulled hers away. "Sorry. Why are you nervous?" "I'm not." "You are." She looked at me. "You're imagining things." "Maybe." She looked down. "I just don't want Alexander to think he can hurt me anymore." I nodded. "I understand." She smiled. "Good." Then she reached for my hand again. This time, she didn't pull away. Our relationship continued like that. A strange mixture of acting and reality. Every kiss was supposed to be fake. Every touch was supposed to be meaningless. Every smile was supposed to be part of the performance. But I started noticing things. The way Sophia looked at me when she thought I wasn't watching. The way she became quiet after our kisses. The way her fingers tightened around mine whenever someone mentioned Alexander. And the way she always found an excuse to stay beside me after the cameras disappeared. One evening, we attended another charity event. Alexander was there. Sophia noticed him immediately. She turned toward me. "Come here." She pulled me closer. "You know what to do." I sighed. "You're becoming addicted to this." "Maybe." Then she kissed me. I kissed her back. For a few seconds, neither of us remembered the cameras. When she finally pulled away, she looked completely stunned. Her cheeks were red. Her breathing was uneven. She stared at me as though she had just discovered something frightening. "What?" I whispered. She shook her head. "Nothing." "Sophia." She looked into my eyes. Her voice became almost a whisper. "Why does it feel different when I kiss you?" I didn't know how to answer. And judging by the look in her eyes, neither did she. Across the room, Alexander watched us. His hands were clenched into fists. And for the first time, I realized our fake relationship might have created a problem neither of us had expected. Because Sophia wasn't just trying to make Alexander jealous anymore. She was starting to fall for me. Alexander Kane didn't give up. If anything, he became more determined after seeing Sophia and me together. Within a week, rumors about our relationship were everywhere. "He's only with Sophia for her money. He probably planned this. Her father should investigate him." I heard those whispers everywhere I went. At first, I ignored them. Then one morning, Daniel walked into my office holding his phone. "You need to see this." I looked at the screen. An article had been published about me. The headline was brutal. "Sophia Sterling's mystery boyfriend love, or money? I sighed. Who wrote it? Some entertainment site. Alexander? We don't have proof. I put the phone down. He's behind it. Daniel nodded. Probably. Before I could respond, my assistant entered. There's someone here to see you. Who? Mr. Richard Sterling. I froze. Sophia's father. Send him in. A few seconds later, Richard entered my office. He looked exactly like the kind of man who could make an entire boardroom silent without raising his voice. He sat across from me. I've investigated you. I leaned back. I assumed you would. You own your company. Yes. You build it yourself. Yes. You have no history of financial crimes, fraud, or deception. I smiled slightly. That's good to hear. Richard didn't smile. But your company is struggling. I stayed silent. And my daughter recently invested in it. That investment was part of our agreement. I know. He leaned forward. Then answer one question. Go ahead. Are you using my daughter? I looked directly into his eyes. No. Would you still be with her if she wasn't rich? I thought about it. Yes. Richard studied me. Why? Because she's not what everyone thinks she is. He raised an eyebrow. She is difficult. I know. She is stubborn. I know. She can be reckless. I definitely know. For the first time, Richard almost smiled. Then he became serious again. If anyone attacks you because of my family, I can make it disappear. I shook my head. No. He frowned. No. I don't want you protecting me with your money. Richard stared at me. Why? Because if I can't defend myself, I have no business standing beside Sophia. That answer surprised him. It surprised Sophia even more. She had been standing outside the door. I heard everything. I turned. Sophia. She walked inside. You didn't tell me he was coming. I didn't know. She looked at her father. Did you threaten him? Richard shook his head. No. Sophia looked at me. You really don't want my family helping you? I don't need them to fight my battles. Her eyes softened. Most people would. I'm not most people. She smiled faintly. I know. A few days later, we attended another major business event. Sophia looked stunning. She wore a black dress and held my arm as we entered. The moment we stepped inside, I saw Alexander. He was waiting. I knew you'd come, he said. Sophia's expression hardened. Why wouldn't we? Alexander smiled. Then he looked at me. I hope you're enjoying the benefits. I ignored him. Sophia didn't. Don't start. I'm only being friendly. He stepped closer to her. You look beautiful tonight. Thank you. I always liked that dress. Sophia's smile disappeared. You've never seen it before. Alexander laughed. I've seen you in better. I felt Sophia tense beside me. Then Alexander reached for her hand. She pulled it away. Don't touch me. He smiled. Relax. Then he looked at me. What? You're not jealous? I looked at him. No. He seemed disappointed. Really? Really? I turned around. Sophia grabbed my arm. Where are you going? Getting some air. You're leaving me? No. I gently removed her hand. You seem busy. Then I walked away. I didn't look back. A minute later, Sophia followed me. She found me standing on the balcony. What was that? I turned. What was what? You walked away. Yes. Why? Because Alexander was flirting with you. And you didn't care? I stared at her. You told me this was fake. Her expression changed. That doesn't mean you have to act like you don't care. I laughed quietly. Sophia, what do you want from me? She didn't answer. You hired me to pretend to be your boyfriend. I know. You wanted to make Alexander jealous. I know. You created these rules. I know. Then you can't expect me to suddenly become emotionally invested whenever you feel insecure. Her eyes filled with frustration. I never said that. You didn't have to. She stepped closer. You're impossible. And you're confusing. She stared at me. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then she grabbed my jacket. I froze. Sophia. She kissed me. There was no hesitation. No cameras. No crowd. No Alexander. Just us. The kiss lasted longer than it should have. When she pulled away, she was breathing quickly. I stared at her. She looked almost as shocked as I was. I stepped closer. Why did you kiss me? She looked away. Sophia. She remained silent. Alexander isn't here. Nothing. He isn't watching us. Still nothing. You didn't need to prove anything. She swallowed. I lowered my voice. Why did you kiss me when your ex wasn't watching? Her eyes finally met mine. For the first time since I had met her, Sophia Sterling had absolutely no answer. She opened her mouth, then closed it. She looked away again. I don't know. I stared at her. Neither of us moved, and somehow, her silence told me more than any answer could have. Because Alexander wasn't there. There were no cameras. There was no audience. There was no revenge. For the first time, Sophia had kissed me simply because she wanted to, and that frightened both of us. After that night, something changed between Sophia and me. Neither of us talked about the kiss on the balcony, but somehow, we both remembered it. The strange part was that Alexander disappeared from our conversations. Sophia still attended events with me. She still held my arm when cameras were around. She still smiled whenever people asked about our relationship. But now she started finding reasons to see me when nobody was watching. One afternoon, she appeared at my office. What are you doing here? I asked. I'm bored. I stared at her. You're a billionaire heiress. I know. You have an entire company. I know. Then why are you here? She smiled. Because I wanted to see you. I didn't know what to say. She looked away. Is that a problem? No. Good. She sat on the couch and opened her phone. I returned to my work. 20 minutes later, I looked up. She was still there. You're really staying? Yes. Why? Because I like being here. I smiled. That's new. She looked at me. Maybe I'm discovering new things. That evening, she suggested we cook dinner together. You can cook? I asked. She looked offended. Of course. Can you actually cook? I've watched cooking shows. That isn't the same thing. She grabbed an apron. You're going to regret saying that. 20 minutes later, smoke filled the kitchen. I stared at the pan. Sophia. What? You burned the vegetables. They're supposed to look like that. They're black. She laughed. You're impossible. No. I'm realistic. We ended up ordering food. We sat on my apartment floor with takeout boxes between us. Sophia looked around. This place is small. I know. I like it. You have a mansion. I know. Then why? She smiled. Because this feels real. I looked at her. She became quiet. Most places I've lived never felt like home. Why? She played with her fork. Because people were always coming and going. Friends. Some. Family. She nodded. Employees. Business partners. People who wanted invitations, money, connections. She sighed. I never knew if someone actually liked me. I understood more than I expected. I know that feeling. She looked at me. Do you? My company almost failed. She listened carefully. I lost clients. Investors disappeared. People I trusted stopped answering my calls. And you kept going. I had to. She smiled. You never asked me for money. I told you I didn't want it. I know. She looked down. That surprised me. Why? Because everyone asks. I looked at her. I don't want to be another person taking something from you. Her eyes softened. You're different. So are you. I'm not. You are. She smiled. Don't make me like you more. I laughed. Wasn't that against the rules? She looked away. Maybe the rules are becoming difficult. The next week, Sophia started spending even more time with me. We worked late together. Sometimes she brought coffee. Sometimes she simply sat across from me while I worked. One night, Emily stopped by my office. She was one of my closest coworkers and had helped me during the hardest period of my company's life. She hugged me when she saw me. You're finally taking a break. I'm trying. Sophia was standing nearby. She didn't look happy. Emily noticed. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize you were here. Sophia smiled. It's fine. Emily turned to me. Don't forget our meeting tomorrow morning. I won't. She touched my shoulder. Good night. After she left, Sophia remained silent. I looked at her. What? Nothing. You're staring. I'm not. You are. She crossed her arms. She seems very comfortable with you. She works with me. She hugged you. People hug. I don't. I smiled. That's obvious. She glared at me. Don't laugh. Are you jealous? Her face turned red. No. You are. I am not. You absolutely are. She grabbed her bag. I should go. Why? Because you're annoying. She walked toward the door. I laughed. Sophia. She stopped. What? You know you have no right to be jealous. She slowly turned around. I know. That answer surprised me. She walked back. I know I have no right. Then why are you? She looked at me. Because I don't like seeing another woman touch you. My smile disappeared. Sophia. She looked away. Forget I said that. I couldn't. That night, she stayed. We talked for hours. She told me about being a lonely child in a mansion. I told her about growing up believing that success was the only way to protect myself. She laughed at my childhood stories. I laughed at hers. For the first time, she wasn't Sophia Sterling. She was simply Sophia. And I wasn't her fake boyfriend. I was just me. Later that night, we sat together on my couch. The apartment was quiet. Sophia looked at me. You know what scares me? What? I don't think I care about the fake relationship anymore. I stayed silent. She looked down. I don't know when it happened. Maybe we should stop pretending. Her eyes lifted. Would you? I didn't answer immediately. I don't know. She moved closer. Neither do I. Our eyes met. For several seconds, neither of us moved. Then Sophia suddenly leaned forward and kissed me. No cameras. No Alexander. No audience. Nothing to prove. Just her. Just me. The kiss was gentle, but it carried something neither of us was ready to name. When she pulled away, she stared at me. Her fingers slowly touched her lips. She looked almost shocked by what she had done. Then she whispered, I think I just kissed you because I wanted to. I didn't know what to say. Neither did she. But this time, there was no excuse. For the first time, Sophia couldn't blame Alexander. Because he wasn't there, and neither of us wanted him to be. After Sophia kissed me in my apartment, neither of us slept much that night. We sat on opposite ends of the couch, pretending nothing had changed. But everything had changed. The next morning, Sophia left earlier than usual. See you later, she said. Sure. She paused at the door. For a moment, I thought she might turn around. Instead, she smiled weakly and left. I didn't know it then, but Sophia had spent the entire night fighting a battle inside her head. She finally understood what was happening. She had fallen in love with me, and that terrified her. Because our relationship hadn't started with love. It had started with revenge. She had chosen me because she wanted Alexander to feel jealous. She had paid me to pretend. She had created rules to make sure neither of us developed feelings. Now she had broken every rule herself, and she didn't know whether I would believe her. Over the next few days, Sophia became distant. She stopped coming to my office. She stopped calling me at night. When we attended public events, she still smiled for the cameras, but the moment they disappeared, she stepped away from me. I noticed immediately. One evening I called her. Are you busy? No. Then why haven't you answered my messages? I've been thinking. About what? She was silent. Sophia, I think we need some space. My heart sank. Why? I don't know. That isn't an answer. I know. Did I do something? No. Then what's wrong? Her voice became quiet. Nothing. She ended the call. I stared at my phone. For the first time since we met, I had no idea what she was thinking. Alexander noticed too. He approached Sophia outside Sterling Industries. You've been distant. I'm fine. You're not. She ignored him. You don't need him. Sophia stopped. I don't want to talk about him. Alexander stepped closer. You think he belongs in your world? She looked at him. He doesn't. Exactly. Sophia's eyes hardened. Don't confuse my family background with my feelings. He's using you. He isn't. You paid him. For a fake relationship. Exactly. Sophia shook her head. You still don't understand? Then explain it. She looked away. I can't. Alexander smiled. You'll realize I'm right eventually. No. Her answer was immediate. I won't. She walked away. But Alexander wasn't the only person pressuring her. Richard called her home that evening. You need to end this. Sophia stared at him. Why? because this arrangement was never supposed to become serious. She said nothing. Richard continued. You hired him to make Alexander jealous. I know. You're now emotionally involved. Sophia looked down. I know. That man isn't part of our world. She looked up. What does that even mean? It means your lives are completely different. He understands me. Richard sighed. You don't know what you're doing. Yes, I do. No, Sophia. He placed his hand on her shoulder. You're confusing gratitude with love. She pulled away. You don't get to decide what I feel. Richard became quiet. I only want to protect you. I don't need protection from him. She walked out, but his words stayed with her. Days passed. I became more confused. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I went to her house. She opened the door and froze when she saw me. What are you doing here? We need to talk. I'm tired. So am I. She looked away. I think you should leave. No. Her eyes widened. You can't just. I deserve an explanation. She remained silent. I stepped closer. You kissed me when Alexander wasn't there. She looked down. You kissed me because you wanted to. I know. Then why did you suddenly disappear? She didn't answer. Sophia. Her eyes became wet. I got scared. Of me? No. Then what? She took a shaky breath. Of myself. I stared at her. She continued. I realized I was falling for you. My heart stopped. You. I tried to stop it. She wiped away a tear. I told myself every feeling was fake because everything between us started with Alexander. Sophia. Every time you kissed me, I told myself it was part of the agreement. Her voice trembled. But it wasn't. She looked directly into my eyes. Every kiss made my feelings stronger. I didn't know what to say. She stepped closer. The first kiss was revenge. She swallowed. The second was acting. Another tear rolled down her cheek. Then somewhere along the way, I stopped remembering why we were kissing. I reached for her hand. She let me take it. I don't even remember the last time I kissed you because of Alexander. I stared at her. Then why did you kiss me? She looked at me through tears. Because I wanted to. Her voice broke. I wanted you. I squeezed her hand. What about your father? He wants me to end this. And Alexander? I don't care about him. What about the 3-month agreement? She gave a sad laugh. I don't care about that either. She stepped closer until there was barely any space between us. I spent so much time pretending that I didn't love you because I was afraid you would think my feelings were part of the act. I shook my head. I never thought that. You should have. Why? Because I didn't know how to tell you. I lifted her chin gently. You could have just told me the truth. I was scared. So was I. She stared at me. You were? Yes. Why? Because I started feeling the same thing. Her lips parted. For a moment, she simply looked at me. Then she whispered, You love me? I think I have for longer than I wanted to admit. She closed her eyes. A tear slipped down her cheek. Then she opened them again. I don't want to make him jealous anymore. She took my hand and held it against her heart. Her voice trembled. I only want you. For the first time, there was no contract between us. No fake relationship. No revenge. No Alexander. Just Sophia and me. And now we had to decide whether our love could survive without the lie that had created it. Richard Sterling gave me only one warning. Stay away from my daughter. We were sitting across from each other in his private office. He placed a folder on the desk between us. This is not a negotiation. I opened it. Inside were documents about my company, my contracts, my investors, my outstanding loans, even information I had never shared publicly. You investigated everything. I needed to know how much damage you could cause my daughter. I closed the folder. I don't want your family's money. That isn't the issue. Then what is? Richard leaned forward. My daughter is the future of Sterling Industries. Her inheritance, her board position, everything depends on her maintaining a certain image. And being with me destroys that image? Yes. I shook my head. Then perhaps your family has bigger problems than me. His expression hardened. You don't understand what you're risking. I understand perfectly. If you continue this relationship, I can make sure your company loses every major contract connected to Sterling Industries. I stared at him. You're threatening my business. I'm protecting my daughter. No. You're controlling her. He stood. Stay away from Sophia. I stood too. I won't. His eyes narrowed. You should think carefully. I already have. I walked out. Sophia was waiting outside. She had heard enough. Dad. Richard looked at her. You weren't supposed to hear this. I heard everything. She looked at me. Her eyes were filled with worry. Are you okay? I'll be fine. Richard walked away. Sophia immediately grabbed my hand. He won't stop. I know. He can destroy your company. I know. She looked down. Then maybe we should end this. I stared at her. No. I don't want your future destroyed because of me. My future isn't worth anything if I have to lose you to protect it. Her eyes filled with tears. You don't understand. I understand more than you think. My inheritance could be taken away. Then we'll deal with it. My position in the company could disappear. Then we'll fight for it. She shook her head. You shouldn't have to fight my family. I already decided. What? I choose you. She closed her eyes. You make everything harder. I know. She smiled through her tears. But I love you. I love you too. She hugged me tightly. For the first time, we weren't pretending. We were standing together against the people who wanted to separate us. But while Richard was focused on me and Sophia, another threat was already growing inside Sterling Industries. Alexander Kane had found an ally. Victor Hayes. Victor had been a senior executive at Sterling Industries for years. He knew every weakness in the company, every account, every internal process, and apparently he had been hiding something. Alexander met him in a private parking garage. You said you could damage Sterling from inside. Victor nodded. I can. How long? 3 months. Alexander handed him an envelope. I want the company unstable before Sophia takes control. Victor smiled. She won't even know what happened. Unfortunately for them, Sophia was beginning to notice. The following morning, she entered her father's office unexpectedly. A financial report was open on his computer. What is this? Richard turned. Nothing. Sophia looked at the screen. Why did our overseas division lose $12 million? Richard's expression changed. It was a temporary issue. Then why wasn't I told? Because you don't need to worry about every problem. I am part of this company. You're my daughter. And I'm also an executive. Richard sighed. Sophia, leave this alone. She stared at him. Why? Because I'm handling it. She looked at the report again. Who approved the transfer? Richard didn't answer. That silence told her everything. Sophia walked out. She called me immediately. We have a problem. What happened? Someone is moving money out of Sterling Industries. How much? I don't know yet. Do you trust your father's executives? No. Then we need evidence. She agreed. That afternoon, I met Daniel and Emily in my office. Daniel opened his laptop. We need access to Sterling's public financial records first. Emily placed several documents on the table. I already found unusual transactions. I looked at her. How unusual? Large transfers between subsidiaries. That's not necessarily illegal. No. She turned the screen toward me. But these companies have almost no operating activity. Daniel frowned. Shell companies? Possibly. I leaned forward. Who authorized them? Emily shook her head. That's what we're trying to find. Sophia joined us a few minutes later. She looked exhausted. My father doesn't want me investigating. Then we investigate without him. She nodded. For hours, we went through financial records, numbers, transfers, accounts, dates, company names. Most of it looked normal. Then Emily suddenly stopped. Wait. Everyone looked at her. What? She opened another file. This transfer. Daniel leaned closer. How much? Emily swallowed. $38 million. I stared at the screen. Where did it go? She followed the transaction. It was transferred through 3 different accounts. Final destination? She clicked again. The name appeared. Victor Hayes. Silence filled the room. Sophia stared at the screen. Victor? Emily nodded. He's been moving money from Sterling Industries. Daniel looked at me. This could be much bigger than fraud. I looked at the records. How much has he taken? Emily continued searching. Her face slowly changed. I don't know. What? There are dozens of transfers. How many? She turned the screen toward us. Enough to destroy the company if they're all connected. Sophia's face went pale. My father trusted him. I looked at her. Then we need to know exactly what Victor has been doing. Emily opened another account. Then another. The numbers kept growing. Finally, she whispered, "Guys." We all looked at her. "There's a massive hidden transfer." "How much?" She stared at the screen. "Over $100 million. Sophia covered her mouth. Daniel stood. "Where did it go?" Emily followed the transaction trail. Her fingers froze above the keyboard. Then she looked at me. "It leads directly to Victor." I stared at the screen. Victor Hayes wasn't simply stealing from Sterling Industries. He might have been preparing to destroy it from the inside. And now we had finally found the trail. Sophia didn't sleep after we discovered the hidden transfer. Neither did I. The next morning, she walked into Victor Hayes' office without knocking. Victor looked up from his desk. "Sophia, close the door." He frowned. "Is something wrong?" She placed a folder on his desk. "Tell me what this is." Victor opened it. His face changed. The transfer records were inside. He slowly looked up. "I don't understand." "You moved over $100 million through hidden accounts." Victor stood. "That's impossible. We traced the money." "You're making a mistake." Sophia stepped closer. "Then explain the accounts." Victor remained silent. "Explain why your name appears at the end of the transfer trail." His expression hardened. "You don't understand how complicated corporate finance is." "I understand enough. You should speak to your father." "I already did." Victor's eyes narrowed. "And he doesn't know?" "No." Victor looked away. Sophia's voice became cold. "Who helped you?" "I don't know what you're talking about." "Alexander." Victor froze. That was all the answer she needed. So it was him. Victor sat down. "You're making a serious mistake." "No." Sophia picked up the folder. "The mistake was thinking I would never look." She turned toward the door. Victor suddenly grabbed her arm. "You can't expose this." Sophia pulled away. "Don't touch me. If this becomes public, Sterling Industries could collapse." "Then you should have thought about that before stealing from it." Victor's expression became desperate. "You don't know what Alexander promised me." "I don't care." She walked out. But Alexander was waiting in the hallway. Sophia stopped. "You." He smiled. "We need to talk." "I have nothing to say to you. You're making a mistake with him." She stared at him. "You worked with Victor." "I was trying to protect myself." "You were trying to destroy my family." "Your family was already falling apart." Sophia shook her head. "You lied to me." "I did what I had to do." Then Alexander stepped closer. "And you should realize something else." "What?" "He's using you." Sophia's eyes narrowed. "Don't." "He accepted your money. For my company. He let you invest in him." "Because I offered." "You really believe he loves you?" "Yes." Alexander laughed. "You're a billionaire heiress. Men like him don't fall in love with women like you." Sophia's expression changed. "What did you say?" "He wants your money." "No." "He wants your connections." "No." "He wants your family name." "Enough." Alexander grabbed her wrist. "He will leave you the moment your money disappears." Sophia pulled her hand away. "You don't know him." "I know men like him." "No." She stepped closer. "You know men like yourself." Alexander froze. Sophia continued. "You think every relationship is about money because that's how you see people." "I loved you. You loved what I could give you." "That isn't true." "It is." She looked him directly in the eyes. "I don't need a billionaire to love me." Alexander stared at her. "I don't need someone powerful." She took a breath. "I already found someone who treats me like a normal woman." Alexander's face darkened. "You mean him?" "Yes." "And you think he can give you what I could?" Sophia smiled sadly. "He already gave me something you never could." "What?" "Peace." Alexander said nothing. Sophia turned away. "I choose the man who sees me instead of my surname." Then she walked past him. People in the hallway had heard everything. Sophia didn't care. For the first time, she wasn't protecting an image. She was protecting her heart. That evening, I found her waiting outside my apartment. She looked different. Not like the confident heiress everyone knew. She looked scared. I opened the door. "Sophia, can I come in?" "Of course." She walked inside. For a few seconds, she said nothing. Then she turned toward me. I confronted Victor. I know. I found out Alexander was helping him. I know. I rejected Alexander. I heard. She stared at me. You heard? Half the city heard. She laughed softly. Then her smile disappeared. I was scared. Of Victor? No. She stepped closer. Of losing you. I reached for her hand. You're not losing me. You don't know that. I do. She shook her head. My family could collapse. We'll fight. My father could disown me. We'll deal with it. I could lose everything. I squeezed her hand. You still have me. Her eyes filled with tears. That's exactly what scares me. Why? Because you're the first thing I've ever had that I can't replace with money. I didn't know what to say. She looked down. I used to think losing money was the worst thing that could happen to me. And now I know losing you would hurt more. I pulled her into my arms. She rested her head against my chest. I don't want you to think I chose you because of Alexander. I don't. You were never supposed to become real. I know. I chose you because I wanted revenge. I know. But then I started looking for you even when Alexander wasn't there. I smiled. I noticed. She laughed through her tears. I hated that. Why? Because it meant I was falling in love. I held her tighter. She looked up at me. I don't want to be your fake girlfriend anymore. Good. She smiled. I don't want you to be my revenge. You don't have to worry. I want something real. I looked into her eyes. So do I. She took my hand. Then I need to ask you something. Anything. She intertwined her fingers with mine. I don't want to choose you because my father is wrong. She shook her head. I don't want to choose you because Alexander hurt me. She stepped closer. I don't want to choose you because I need someone to save my company. I waited. I want to choose you because you're the man I love. Her voice trembled. And if everything disappears tomorrow, I still want you beside me. I kissed her forehead. You don't have to prove anything to me. She smiled. I know. She squeezed my hand. Then let me choose you now. I looked at her. Are you sure? She nodded. For the first time in my life, I'm completely sure. I pulled her closer. And when she kissed me, there was no contract. No cameras. No Alexander. No revenge. Just Sophia choosing me. And me choosing her. The next morning, Sophia and I started building our case. We knew Victor had stolen money. We knew Alexander had helped him. But we still didn't know how far their plan went. Daniel and Emily spent hours organizing the financial records, while Sophia contacted several trusted executives inside Sterling Industries. I sat across from her in my office. What do you think Alexander wanted? I asked. At first, I thought he wanted me back. And now? She looked at the documents. I think he wanted my position. I frowned. Your position? My inheritance. My voting rights. My place on the board. She picked up another document. If I married Alexander, he would gain access to everything I control. I stared at the numbers. So the relationship wasn't about love. No. Her voice became bitter. It was about control. Sophia had finally understood the trap. Alexander hadn't simply wanted her heart back. He wanted Sterling Industries. And marrying Sophia would have been the easiest way to get it. Daniel entered the room. I found something. He placed a file on the table. What? Alexander's company has been losing money for almost 2 years. Sophia looked at him. How much? Enough to put him in serious debt. I opened the file. And Victor? Victor received payments from companies connected to Alexander. Emily added, they weren't direct payments. They moved through several shell accounts. Sophia stared at the documents. They planned everything. I nodded. They needed control of the company. And they needed me to marry Alexander. Silence filled the room. Sophia looked down. I almost did it. I took her hand. You didn't. But I almost gave them everything. You were manipulated. She looked at me. I should have seen it. You trusted someone you loved. She smiled sadly. That was my mistake. No. I shook my head. The mistake was theirs. That afternoon, we showed the evidence to Richard. He sat quietly as we explained everything. When Sophia finished, he looked devastated. I pushed you toward him. Sophia said nothing. I thought Alexander was the right choice for you. You didn't listen to me. I know. Richard looked at her. I thought I was protecting the family. You were protecting the company. He lowered his head. You're right. Then he looked at me. And I treated you like a threat. I remained silent. I threatened your company. Yes. Richard nodded. I was wrong. Sophia's eyes softened. Her father took a deep breath. I owe you both an apology. Sophia walked over and hugged him. Richard held his daughter tightly. I should have trusted you. I know. I am sorry. For the first time, Richard wasn't speaking as the head of Sterling Industries. He was speaking as Sophia's father. But our victory didn't last long. The next morning, Alexander made his final move. An emergency board meeting was called. Everyone received a report accusing me of stealing company money. Sophia called me immediately. What happened? They're accusing you. Of what? Taking money from Sterling Industries. I froze. What? They have documents. Daniel looked at me. That's impossible. We rushed to the Sterling headquarters. The boardroom was already full. Alexander stood near the presentation screen. Victor sat beside him. Sophia walked in with me. Richard was at the head of the table. Alexander smiled. You came. Sophia glared at him. Explain yourself. Alexander clicked the remote. Financial records appeared on the screen. Millions were transferred from Sterling accounts to a company controlled by him. Everyone looked at me. Sophia immediately spoke. That is a lie. Alexander shook his head. The documents are real. Victor added, we have transaction records. I looked at the screen. The account information appeared convincing. For a moment, even I couldn't explain it. Richard looked at me. Did you authorize these transfers? No. Alexander smiled. Then why does your signature appear here? Sophia stepped forward. Because it's forged. Alexander laughed. You're protecting him again. No. Sophia looked at the board. I'm protecting the truth. Alexander turned toward me. You've been using her from the beginning. I stayed calm. You're desperate. I'm telling the truth. Before he could continue, Emily suddenly entered the room. Wait. Everyone turned. She was holding her laptop. I found the account. Alexander's expression changed. Emily connected the laptop to the screen. This account was created 6 months ago. Victor shifted in his chair. Emily continued. It received money from the same shell companies we traced earlier. Richard stood. Whose account? Emily looked directly at Victor. His. Victor went pale. Alexander stood. This proves nothing. Emily shook her head. It proves everything. She opened another file. The transfers were routed through Victor's account before being made to the company supposedly owned by him. She pointed at the screen, and the documents accusing him were created using the same financial network. Sophia looked at Alexander. You forged everything. Alexander's face hardened. No. Emily opened another document. There's more. The boardroom became silent. This account was used to transfer money to Alexander's private company. Richard stared at him. Alexander. Alexander stepped backward. This isn't what it looks like. Sophia shook her head. It is exactly what it looks like. Victor suddenly tried to leave. Security stopped him. Richard looked around the room. Call the authorities. Victor's face went white. Alexander shouted, You can't do this. Richard turned toward him. You betrayed my daughter. Alexander looked at Sophia. She'll regret choosing him. Sophia didn't even blink. No. She looked at me. I won't. Alexander was escorted out. Victor followed him. The boardroom slowly emptied. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe. Sophia walked toward me. She took my hand. I smiled. We did it. She nodded. Yes. Richard watched us from across the room. Then he smiled. You two deserve each other. Sophia looked at me, but instead of celebrating, she suddenly became serious. Her fingers tightened around mine. What? She looked into my eyes. There's something I need to confess to. I frowned. What is it? She took a slow breath. I've been hiding something from you. My smile disappeared. What? Sophia looked nervous. And for the first time since we had defeated Alexander and Victor, I realized there was still one secret left between us. She squeezed my hand. I don't know how you're going to react. I stared at her. Then tell me. She opened her mouth. But before she could speak, Richard quietly left the room. Sophia looked at me and whispered, "It started before I ever met you." Sophia stood in front of me, but for once, the powerful heiress I had known was nowhere to be seen. There was no confidence in her eyes, no carefully chosen words, no pride, just Sophia, the woman I had slowly fallen in love with. She wiped the tears from her cheek and took a shaky breath. "I owe you the truth," she said. I stayed silent. She looked down at her hands. "From the very beginning, I didn't know what I was doing." "You mean with me?" She nodded. "The first kiss." Her voice became softer. "That was revenge." I remembered it clearly. The night she had pulled me close and kissed me because Alexander was watching. At the time, I had believed she wanted to hurt him. I had been right. Sophia continued. "I wanted Alexander to feel jealous. I wanted him to understand that he couldn't walk away from me and expect me to wait forever." She looked into my eyes. "And you were the person I chose to use." I felt something tighten in my chest, but I didn't interrupt. "The second kiss was different," she whispered. "That one was an act." "An act?" "Yes." She gave a sad smile. "We were pretending to be something we weren't. I told myself that if I kissed you again, everyone would believe our relationship was real." I remembered how confused I had been, how I had tried to convince myself that her lips touching mine meant nothing. But Sophia wasn't finished. Then something changed. She stepped closer. I don't know exactly when it happened. "What changed?" "You." I stared at her. She smiled through her tears. "After every kiss, you looked at me differently." "Differently how?" "Like I mattered." Her voice cracked. "Not like I was an heiress. Not like I was Alexander's ex-girlfriend. Not like I was Richard Sterling's daughter." She touched her chest. "You looked at me like I was just Sophia." I didn't know what to say. She continued. "At first, I hated that look." "Why?" "Because it made me feel things I wasn't ready to feel." She laughed quietly through her tears. "I would walk away from you and tell myself it was nothing. Then, hours later, I would remember your expression." I felt my heart beat faster. "You remember?" "Every time." She looked directly at me. "The way you looked at me after the third kiss. The way you smiled after the fourth. The way you tried to hide how nervous you were." I shook my head. "I wasn't nervous. You were terrible at pretending." I laughed softly. "So were you." Her smile faded into something more vulnerable. I started craving those moments. My breath caught. Craving. Being alone with you. Talking to you. Hearing you say my name. She swallowed. "I started finding excuses to stay near you." I remembered those moments. The late-night conversations. The unnecessary questions. The time she had walked into my office just to ask something she could have easily asked someone else. I had thought she was being difficult. Now I understood. "You were falling in love with me," I said quietly. Sophia looked down. "I was." She paused. "I just didn't know how to admit it." I took a slow breath. "Neither did I." Her eyes lifted. "You." I nodded. "I fell in love with you long before I admitted it." She stared at me. "When?" "I don't know. That isn't an answer." I smiled. "Fine." "I thought about it. Maybe when you stopped pretending to be strong around me." Her expression softened. "Maybe when you fell asleep on my shoulder and trusted me enough not to move." She looked embarrassed. "You remember that?" "I remember everything." She laughed quietly. "And maybe," I continued, "it was when you defended me in front of your father." Her smile disappeared. "I was terrified that day." "I know." "I thought I was going to lose everything." "You still stood beside me." She nodded. "I didn't want to lose you." Those words hit me harder than anything else. Sophia stepped closer. "But there's something I'm still afraid of." "What?" "That you'll always remember how this started." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "You'll always remember that I kissed you to make Alexander jealous." She looked away. "You'll remember that I used you." "Sophia." "You'll wonder if every moment afterward was another act." Her voice trembled. "And maybe someday, when you're angry with me, you'll look at me and think, she only loved me because I was useful." I reached for her hand. She let me take it. "I don't think that." "But how can you be sure?" "Because I watched you change." She looked at me. "You stopped caring whether Alexander noticed us." Her eyes filled with tears again. "You stopped trying to prove anything to him. You stopped looking over your shoulder." I squeezed her hand. And eventually, you chose me when there was nothing left to prove. Sophia's lips trembled. You really believe that? I do. But what about the beginning? The beginning was messy. She gave a weak laugh. That's a nice way to say it. It was complicated. Very complicated. But the beginning doesn't decide the ending. She stared at me. The woman who kissed me to make Alexander jealous isn't the woman standing in front of me now. Sophia's tears finally fell. Who am I now? I smiled. The woman who stayed. She covered her mouth, trying not to cry. The woman who chose me. She lowered her hand. And the woman I love. Her eyes widened. I realized I had finally said the words aloud. I love you, Sophia. She stared at me as if she had been waiting for those words her entire life. You really love me? I do. Even knowing everything, especially knowing everything. She stepped forward and rested her forehead against mine. I love you too. Her voice was barely a whisper. I think I loved you before I even understood what love felt like. I closed my eyes. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then Sophia pulled back slightly. There were tears in her eyes, but she was smiling. A real smile. Not the confident smile of the heiress. Not the smile she used at business meetings. Just Sophia. She looked at my lips, then back into my eyes. Her voice trembled when she asked the question that seemed to hold everything we had survived. If I kiss you now, will you believe me? I looked into Sophia's eyes and smiled. If you kiss me now, I whispered, I won't need you to prove anything. She smiled through her tears. That wasn't the answer I wanted. What answer did you want? She stepped closer. I wanted you to say that you believe me. I do. Then close your eyes. I laughed softly. Why? Because I'm going to kiss you. This time, there was no audience. No Alexander. No revenge. No business deal. No fake relationship. No contract. Nothing between us except the feelings we had spent months trying to understand. Sophia placed her hands gently on my face. Then she kissed me. It was different from every kiss before it. The first had been revenge. The second had been an act. But this one was simply love. When she pulled away, her forehead rested against mine. I love you, she whispered. I love you too. She smiled. And this time, I don't care who knows. Neither do I. We stayed there for a long moment, holding each other. For the first time, neither of us was pretending. The next morning, Sophia and I sat together at breakfast. There were no rules between us. No agreement about how long our relationship should last. No conditions. No pretending to be affectionate in public while acting like strangers in private. Sophia looked at the papers on the table. What should we do with those? I knew exactly what she meant. Our old contract. The document that had started everything. I picked it up. Burn it. She smiled. Really? Unless you want to frame it. She laughed. No. Burn it. I tore the contract in half. Sophia took the pieces from my hands. Together, we walked outside and dropped the papers into the fireplace. As the flames consumed them, Sophia slipped her hand into mine. It feels strange, she said. What does? Being with you without an expiration date. I smiled. Get used to it. She looked at me. I intend to. Our relationship didn't become perfect overnight. We still argued. Sometimes we misunderstood each other. Sometimes Sophia became stubborn. Sometimes I became too proud to admit when I was wrong. But whenever something went wrong, we talked. We didn't hide behind contracts. We didn't use jealousy. We didn't run to other people. We chose each other. Again and again. A few weeks later, Richard asked to speak with me. I expected another warning. Instead, he surprised me. You love my daughter? Yes. And she loves you? Yes. He studied me for several seconds. Then he sighed. I spent years trying to control Sophia because I thought I was protecting her. I understand. No, you don't. He looked toward the window. She hated me for it. She still loves you. Richard gave me a tired smile. I know. He looked back at me. She deserves the freedom to choose her own life. I nodded. And if she chooses you, I'll spend the rest of my life making sure she never regrets it. Richard was silent. Then he extended his hand. I don't approve of everything you've done. I smiled. I don't approve of everything I've done either. He laughed. But I know you love her. He shook my hand. So, I'm not standing in your way anymore. When I told Sophia, she stared at me in disbelief. My father actually said that? He did. She smiled. I never thought I'd hear those words. She hugged me tightly. Thank you. You don't have to thank me. I know. She pulled away. I'm thanking you because you're part of the reason I finally learned to stand up for myself. Meanwhile, Alexander's world was collapsing. The evidence against him and Victor became impossible to ignore. Their financial crimes, manipulation, and attempts to control Sterling Industries were exposed. Alexander lost his influence, his allies, and eventually his position. The man who had once believed Sophia would always return to him was suddenly outside the life she had built without him. One evening, Sophia and I saw him from across a hotel lobby. He looked at us. Then he looked at our joined hands. For a moment, I wondered if Sophia would feel anything. She simply smiled at me. Ready? I nodded. We walked away together. She never looked back. Months passed. Our companies grew. Our lives became calmer. And one evening, I took Sophia to the same garden where we had shared one of our first honest conversations. She looked around. Why are we here? I have something to ask you. She raised an eyebrow. Is this a business proposal? No. Good. I took a small box from my pocket. Her eyes widened. Sophia. I opened it. She covered her mouth. Will you marry me? Tears filled her eyes. You're serious? Completely. She laughed and cried at the same time. Yes. I slipped the ring onto her finger. Yes. Yes. She threw her arms around me. I've been waiting for you to ask. You have? For months. You could have told me. No. Why? Because I wanted you to surprise me. I laughed. You're impossible. And you love me. I do. Our wedding day arrived faster than either of us expected. The ceremony was small but beautiful. Richard sat proudly in the front row. Emily cried before the ceremony even started. And when Sophia finally walked toward me, everything else disappeared. She looked at me like I was the only person in the room. When she reached me, she smiled. You're staring. I can't help it. You look nervous. I am. She laughed softly. Remember our first kiss? I smiled. How could I forget? You thought I was crazy. You were crazy. She shook her head. I kissed you because I wanted Alexander to be jealous. And now? She leaned closer. Now I'm marrying you. I laughed. Quite an upgrade. She smiled. Definitely. The ceremony began. We exchanged vows. We promised to choose each other through every difficult day and every beautiful one. And when the officiant told me I could kiss my bride, Sophia looked at me with the same playful smile she had worn years ago. I leaned closer. This one isn't revenge, right? She laughed. No, not an act. No. No, Alexander? Absolutely not. No money? None. Then why are you kissing me? She wrapped her arms around my neck. Because I love you. She kissed me. And as everyone applauded, I realized something. Our first kiss had been meant to make another man jealous. Our final kiss was meant for no one but us. Somehow, the woman who once used me to make another man jealous had become the woman standing beside me as my wife. And I wouldn't change a single chapter of our story.